Good morning and welcome to Africa Good Morning, the show where we will be bringing you the latest news in Africa and beyond. On today's Africa Good Morning, we'll cross over to Zimbabwe, speaking to our correspondent, Talen Gore. Later on in the show, we'll also be speaking to Ari Hohart, who will bring us the latest in sports news. I am Glenn Rashipura, joined by Diana Master. Good morning, Diana.
Good morning, Glenn. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well.
For a Monday.
For a Monday. Right? And we are matching.
We're matching. We are actually. And it's crazy how in the same
We never planned for this.
We didn't plan for this. But today is World Religion Day. Our world has hundreds of nations with thousands of cultures that stretch back into prehistory, and throughout all that time, we've had countless religions rise to prominence. Whether you're Christian, Hindu, Jewish, Catholic, Shinto, Buddhist, or one of a million over faiths, World Religion Day is your chance to share your culture with others and take an opportunity to learn from others about this. Let's take a look at this video.
Today is Monday, the 16th of January 2023, and here are your top stories. Zimbabwe police arrest 25 opposition members ahead of presidential election. Zimbabwean police on Saturday fired tear gas at an opposition party gathering in Harare and arrested 25 of its members, including 2 members of parliament. The Citizens Coalition for Change said the arrests come after a wave of politically motivated violence against opposition supporters in rural Zimbabwe, raising fears of repression ahead of the presidential election this year. The date has not yet been announced. Police confirmed the arrest of members of the Citizens Coalition for Change, Zimbabwe's main opposition political party, and said a detailed statement will be released following investigation. It was an unsanctioned gathering. I'm receiving numerous reports that people were beaten. We will release a full statement in due course, police spokesperson Paul Nyati said. Now, according to CCC, the private internal strategy meeting was held this morning at the private residence of one of the members in Budiro, about 15 kilometers from central Harare. The Maintenance of Peace and Order Act only applies to public meetings in a public place, CCC spokeswoman Fedzai Muhare told Reuters.
Now, Tanzania opposition leader to end exile after rally ban lifted. Tanzania's opposition leader and former presidential candidate Tundu Lissu has said he will return home this month from exile in Europe to write a new chapter after the government's decision to lift a ban on political rallies. President Samia Suluhu Hassan lifted the 6.5-year ban on political rallies last week, part of a reconciliation strategy after taking over the presidency in March 2021 following the death of a predecessor, John Magufuli. The ban imposed by Magufuli in 2016 allowed elected politicians to conduct rallies in their constituencies but barred other political rallies and protests. With the lifting of the illegal ban on political activity, it's now time to return home and get back to work, Lissu said on Twitter on Friday, saying he would arrive on January 25th. In a speech streamed live on YouTube and carried on local channels in Tanzania, Lissu said, "We cannot continue to endlessly live in exile. I'm optimistic that we will write a new chapter this year. 2023 is an important year in the history of our country," he said.
In our next story, Europe gears up to send Western tanks to Ukraine. The Western Alliance response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine received a shot in the arm this week as multiple European nations for the first time answered President Volodymyr Zelensky's long-standing call to supply modern battle tanks to Kyiv. France, Poland, and the United Kingdom have pledged to soon send tanks for the Ukrainian military to use in its efforts to protect itself from Russia. Finland is considering following suit. Britain plans to send a dozen Challenger 2 tanks and additional artillery systems as part of efforts to intensify support for Ukraine, Downing Street said. Zelensky thanked Prime Minister Rishi Sunak for the decision that will not only strengthen us on the battlefield but also send the right signal to the other partners after the two leaders spoke by phone on Saturday. Now speaking alongside Zelensky in the Ukrainian city of Lviv on Wednesday, Polish President Andrzej Duda said he hoped tanks from a range of Western allies would soon sail through various routes to Ukraine and will be able to strengthen the defense of Ukraine. The moves have piled pressure on Germany, which last week said it will transfer infantry fighting vehicles to Kyiv, but is yet to commit to sending tanks. Chancellor Olaf Scholz has insisted that any such plan would need to be fully coordinated with the whole of the Western alliance, including the United States.
Now getting into our next story, thousands of Tunisians rally against President Saied. Thousands of Tunisians have demonstrated against President Kais Saied as the country faces a deepening political and economic crisis. A crowd gathered in the capital Tunis to demand the end of his government. Tunisians who supported Saied since he came to power in 2021 have grown increasingly frustrated with the state of the economy. The protests come 12 years to the day since former dictator Zine al-Abidine Ben Ali was forced into exile. Tunisia's uprising is often held up as the sole success of the Arab Spring revolts across the region, but it has not led to stability either economically or politically. With debts piling up, the country has struggled to import basic goods, including staples such as coffee, milk, and sugar. The government has so far been unable to secure an international bailout, leading one protester to tell the AFP news agency, "The coup has brought us famine and poverty." In Tunis's central Habib Bourguiba Avenue, a traditional site for demonstrations, Said Anwar Ali said Tunisia is going through the most dangerous time in its history. Said took control of all authority and struck at democracy. "The economy is collapsing. We will not be silent," he added. The protests in the capital were organized by two different opposition groups with a heavy police presence outside the Interior Ministry to prevent scuffles. Separately, protesters also marched against Said's seizure of near total power. In 2021, the president sacked the prime minister, suspended parliament, and pushed through a constitution enshrining his one-man rule.
Swinging over to Mozambique, the government will pay 13th month to state pensioners. The Mozambican government has reiterated its commitment to pay the New Year bonus to state pensioners. The bonus is known as a 13th month since it is equivalent to an extra month of basic wage. It is normally paid in January to all employees of the public administration, but in mid-December, in his annual State of the Nation address given to the country's parliament, the Assembly of the Republic President Philip Nyusi announced that there is not enough money in the state budget to pay the bonus this year. However, he said the government would seek the resources to pay the 13th month to all pensioners because of the vulnerability of this social group. Now, the Deputy Minister of State Administration, Inoncio Impisia, cited in Friday's issue of the Independent News Shed, guaranteed that the government is now processing payment of the bonus to pensioners. This is a promise already made by the head of state, so the funds must be processed, he said. The 13th month is generally paid as from the second or third week of January. The expectation is that it will be the same this year. Impisa added that the 13th month will also be paid to 18,000 workers of the public administration who are not yet receiving pensions but are in the process of being retired.
Now we close off our top stories in Zambia. Chipata Mayor George Mwanza evacuated to UTH for specialist treatment. The Zambia Flying Doctor Service has evacuated Chipata Mayor George Mwanza to the University Teaching Hospital for specialist treatment following a tragic accident involving his official vehicle last Thursday. The incident, which took place in Petauke's Mtilizi area, claimed the life of one passenger and left the mayor with stable injuries. The driver of the vehicle, Isaac Mbewe, and another passenger, Paul Malichi, both employees of Chipata City Council, also sustained injuries in the accident. Mayor Mwanza was first admitted to Kalindawalo General Hospital in Petauke after the accident, which happened around 9 p.m. on Thursday. The driver of the vehicle, Isaac Mbewe, lost control of the car and overturned due to excessive speed, according to Eastern Province Deputy Police Commanding Officer Lucky Munkonja, who confirmed the accident in a statement to ZNBC News. After receiving initial treatment, Mayor Mwanza was then transferred to Chipata Central Hospital for further medical attention. Now, the accident did claim the life of one passenger, Lison Mwale, aged 37, who died of serious injuries around 11 p.m. at Kalindawalo Hospital, where he was rushed for treatment.
Now, an ex-police officer has shot dead 3 people and is on the run. Here to bring us this story and more from the House of Stone is Talen Gore on the other side of the break.
3, 2, 1.
We Talk brings you community news that lies at the heart of Windhoek residents. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact wetalk@synergy.com.na. You live, we talk.
As promised earlier, we are now crossing on over to Zimbabwe to speak to Talent Gore to give us the latest news on the ground. Good morning, Talent.
Good morning, Diana. Good morning, Glenora and Africa. Good morning.
It is a good morning, but not in Zimbabwe, as an ex-cop shot 3 dead and is currently on the run. What happened?
A former criminal investigations department officer, Jason Mubezi, who shot and killed 3 people in Wedza on Friday afternoon, survived a shootout in Rusape on Saturday. He is being sought by the police. Apparently, Mubezi is understood to be a gold dealer. He killed an apostolic sect prophet in cold blood as he was preaching in front of his congregants. He also fatally shot the officer in charge of Wedza police station and a male bartender. Another police officer was also shot but seriously injured. Police on Saturday located him just in Rusape, close to the Mozambique border post. And when he realized that the police have found him, he abandoned his vehicle, a Toyota Allion, and he ran on foot. Apparently, he is believed to have gone into a nearby mountain. So the police are still searching for him, and they have warned citizens that this man is dangerous as he has guns with him.
Truly tragic and horrific indeed. Do keep us posted on any further developments in that story. Now, in your next story, we just did a story on it actually. The police did storm CCC members of Parliament House to arrest 25 party members. What happened there?
So apparently, Citizens Coalition for Change party members, they were having a meeting in Mudiriro at one of their legislators' houses when the police came and arrested them. Some of them were beaten, and lawyers, the CCC lawyers, they were also beaten and were arrested. Apparently, the spokesperson for the party, Fazai Maele, said that it was illegal for the police to arrest and beat the lawyers because they were holding a private meeting at their homes. They were not in the streets. They were not doing anything illegal. But the police spokesperson has since said that they have since said that they are doing a thorough investigation to figure out if what they were doing was illegal. What they were doing was illegal or legal. So now we're going to be waiting for the police to report and to tell the nation what really transpired for them to arrest the Citizens Coalition for Change party members.
With the elections around the corner, we will be keeping an eye on the situation in Zimbabwe. And finally, the government warns on the Omicron variant XBB.1.5. Could you please get into this?
Well, government has alleged fears around the recent discovery of the new COVID-19 variant XBB.1.5 in neighboring South Africa, saying that it had necessary measures and safeguards in place to control the variant. The government said that there was nothing to worry about as they were on high alert of the new COVID-19 variant. They've said that because it was found in South Africa and neighboring Botswana, it doesn't mean that we have it in Zimbabwe as yet. But people and doctors in general are saying that we should be on high alert and government should introduce some of the COVID-19 measures and protocols that they had relaxed. They say that we should be on high alert and government should do everything and anything that they can to protect the citizens.
As they should. We will be waiting for an update to see how this develops. Thank you so much, Talent, for bringing us the latest news on the ground. And until next time, please do stay safe.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always a pleasure having talent on the show. We now take a quick ad break and take a look at the weather forecast.
Tourismus Namibia is a weekly tourism show that brings you the latest news in the tourism industry and topics related to that. If you would like to feature your brand or campaign on this platform, contact tourismus@synergy.com.na for news and advertising related queries. Tourismus, bring the world to Namibia.
Let's take a look at our economic news. Unfair, unaffordable, and unjust. These are the reactions to electricity tariff hike, ranging from disappointment to pure outrage. A litany of reactions have been put forward in response to the National Energy Regulator of South Africa's decision to grant the Eskom tariff increases of 18.65% and 12.74% over the next 2 years, respectively. Eskom said the decision will positively contribute to the utility's financial sustainability, although it also recognized the pressure that it will place on consumers. The energy-intensive users group South Africa, whose members account for over 40% of electricity consumption in South Africa, expressed concern that SA electricity prices are increasingly out of line with competitor countries and that high annual increases such as these will leave local industries uncompetitive.
Now, keeping with the topic of power and electricity, Namibia says it has a firm contract with Zambia for uninterrupted power supplies. A local newspaper, Namibia, reports that Namibia has secured a firm contract with Zambia for uninterrupted power supplies, according to Kandali Iyambo, the acting managing director of NamPower. In an interview with The Brief, Iyambo explained that what we have with Zambia is firm. Firm means that it's uninterrupted, it's not source-based. We are not sourcing our power from a specific plant, but from the total portfolio. If you enter into a contract and say it's uninterruptible except for force majeure, which is also specified, then they ought to supply and honor their contract with us because it's firm.
Let's take a look at our economic indicators before we get into the sports news.
Now, Marcus Rashford kept up his stunning scoring streak to complete an incredible 2-1 comeback win for Manchester United over rivals Manchester City when they played this weekend. Here to give us more on the sports news, Ari Hochad. Good morning, Ari.
Yes, very good morning, Diana, and also Glendora. Yes, exciting weekend of soccer, especially. You mentioned Manchester City and Manchester United playing. Manchester United coming back from 2 goals one goal down and winning 2-1. That was significant for them moving into the top four. They tied for third at the moment with Newcastle. That's Manchester United beating Manchester City. That's the action there. That's over the weekend, and that was a 2-1. That game was played at Old Trafford. Quite significant for Manchester City for their hopes to win the title. They now on 39 points after 18 games. They in second position. It is Arsenal that leads with 47 points. Big result for them yesterday, last night, and they beat Tottenham Hotspur by 2-0. They top of the lot by 8 points, and that was a significant result for Arsenal. Big game coming up this coming weekend. Everybody can make a note. The 22nd, this coming Sunday, it will be Arsenal at home against Manchester United. That's going to be a massive game. And also results from the weekend. The Liverpool not doing well. They're in 9th position at the moment. They lost to Brighton by 3-0. Definitely seems like they're out of hopes to play Champions League next year to get in the top four. On to some cricket news. There's exciting cricket, the SA20 that continues in South Africa. A very successful tournament. That's some of the action sponsored by Betway. Game yesterday, it was the Durban Super Giants that beat the Paarl Royals by 27 runs. High scoring game. It was 216 for 4 for the Durban team in their 20 allotted overs, and then 189 for 8 for the Paarl Royals. Paarl Royals do have lots of England stars in their team. Josh Butler, Jason Roy and Ewan Morgan, all World Cup winning players for England. And that tournament continues today and through the week. Exciting cricket in South Africa. Quickly international, also India beat Sri Lanka by 317 runs. A massive win, biggest international ODI win ever. 390 for 5. India, Sri Lanka bowled out for just 73. On to Dakar news. It is the Dakar 2023 that's done. Those are the winners. That is Nasser Al Attiyah. He is from Egypt. His fifth Dakar title, and he won in a Toyota Gazoo vehicle, and that is proudly South African produced. South Africans Janelle de Villiers and Henk Lawrence 4th and 5th respectively, also in the Toyota Gazoo Red Bull. In the motorcycles, it's Kevin Benavades that won a very close one, 43 seconds only, his victory margin over Toby Price. Both of them racing in a KTM Red Bull, so a great result there for Kevin Benavades. On to some rugby news, some results of the European Rugby Championship where South African teams compete. That's the Sharks in action against Bordeaux. Sharks beating Bordeaux Bengals by 32 points to 3. That was at home. The Bulls also at home beat Exeter by 39 points to 28. That's the Bulls scoring a try there against Exeter. And then yesterday it was the Stormers that beat London Irish away win. That was in London by 28 points to 14. This weekend coming is the Bulls away to Lyon and the Sharks away to Harlequins and the Stormers at home to Clermont. And then just to close off quickly, golf news, it was the Sony Open that was played in Hawaii, lovely Hawaii. That is Chris Kirk. He fell back a little bit. The winner there, Siwoo Kim from South Korea, final round of 6 under par, a 4-round total of -18. That's a lovely course they played at. Siwoo Kim of South Korea, the winner. Southern African interest tied for 54th is NJ Duffy on 6 under par. That's the big sport news for the weekend. I hope you have a great sport weekend and everybody get ready for the big game on Sunday, Arsenal versus Manchester United this coming weekend. But have a great sport week. We talk again tomorrow. Goodbye.
Unfortunately, Ashwin is going to be in studio and we're not going to hear the end of it. Hopefully Manchester United keeps up their winning streak.
I'm an Arsenal fan. Wait, hold up.
I mean, history hasn't really been on your side, but stick around because we'll be back with the highlights from today's broadcast. Thank you for watching Africa Good Morning. If you're just joining us, here are your news highlights. Zimbabwe police arrest 25 opposition members ahead of presidential election. Tanzania opposition leader to end exile after rally ban lifted. Europe gears up to send Western tanks to Ukraine. Unfair, unaffordable, unjust reactions to electricity tariff hike stream in.
And before we close off, NTV turns 1 on Wednesday, 8th February 2023. And to celebrate, we are giving away a DSTV Explorer, DSTV Dish Kit, GoTV decoders, and $3,000 Foschini voucher, a shopping voucher from Foschini Group. All you have to do is scan the QR code in our printed ads in the Republican, Namibian Sun, or Algemene Zeitung newspapers and answer the question provided and stand a chance to win. A big thank you to our sponsors, DSTV Namibia, GoTV Namibia, and the Foschini Group for the amazing prizes. The competition ends on the 6th of February 2023. And with that, we've come to the end of our show. Do remember that Africa Good Morning is repeated on our 1UP2 website and our DSTV channel 285 and our GoTV channel 94 between 8:30 and 9 a.m. every weekday. I am Glenn Rashipura.
And I am Diana Master. Until tomorrow, wishing you a lovely day ahead.